Welcome to Happy Village. My name is Jeannie Wu. I'm with the American Red Cross. We're here today in the second segment to talk a little bit about disaster preparedness kits. So the American Red Cross recommends that you have kits for each individual in your household that will provide the necessary supplies for at least 3 days. Primary to that is actually water and food. When you buy one of these kits online, which there's many vendors, including the Red Cross, they usually come with these prepackaged food bars. They don't really taste that great, so I usually put in additional bars or additional food that I've eaten previous that I know I'm not allergic to or that I don't like. And that way I know what I'm consuming and I feel comfortable when I'm in a shelter or I have to evacuate. We do recommend you have at least 3 gallons of water per person per day. This is just a sample, so the kit has much smaller portable bottles, but that's a bare minimum. You should also consider, as I mentioned earlier, supplementing some of your food. Now, I like to throw in these pouches because they're individualized, they're one user, it's usually capped so that if you open it and don't finish it right away, you can save a little bit for later, although without refrigeration, I don't recommend that you store it for very long. But it is handy to have a cap. There are also granola bars, you can put in peanut butter, beef jerky, just stuff that you've had before that you already know that you like and aren't allergic to. One of the other key items that we really suggest that you have are flashlights and batteries. So this is a sample kit, but you can see that I've taken batteries and actually taped them to the flashlight. One of the reasons we recommend you do this is that in Southern California we have a lot of earthquake concerns, and earthquakes, as we know, can happen at any time, which includes the middle of the night. So if all of my supplies are in my handy dandy bag, but I need to evacuate my room or my apartment complex or my house, and it's the middle of the night, it's helpful to have a flashlight with batteries that are already attached, so I'm not trying to find the batteries that I need. One other thing is to remember to have extra batteries. Now this one actually goes to a radio that we recommend you put in your kit. You can tune into AM and FM radio stations that will broadcast emergency services information in the event of a really large disaster. Now this is just one small radio. There's a lot of different kinds that you can use, including those hand crank radios that are available at many different outlets. If you have more room in your kit, which I hope you will have, we also urge you to have first aid supplies as well as just what we call an emergency hygiene kit. Maybe small bottles of soap or shampoo, a bar of soap, maybe your comb. Those kinds of supplies that if you had to stay in a shelter or you had to camp out in your backyard or just be away from your house for several days, you could use those and still feel comfortable using them. A last additional item that would be really helpful is to make sure that you have what we call these document bags. There's a checklist on this bag that you can actually get from the Red Cross on our website, so www.redcross.org. You can look for Prepare SoCal and it should take you to a checklist of items. Inside the document bag, what we recommend is copies of those really important personal documents, so a copy of your birth certificate or your driver's license, social security card, some kind of identifying documentation. Making copies of that with a photo ID is very helpful, when you have to evacuate and you maybe haven't had a chance to grab your wallet. Some additional items are emergency contact information, so points of contact to friends and family, at least 50 miles from where you live with their phone numbers. Any medical information that's really life-threatening. So in other words, if you have some severe allergy to peanut butter, you may want to put that in a document and put it in your bag. Additionally, if you need medication, copies of your prescription or at least the contact information for your primary physician would be a good document to put in here. Last but certainly not least, we encourage you to put in some cash, small dollar denomination bills, some change, and a part of this is because if you have to evacuate and again you've lost your wallet or it's a home fire, you may have actually lost your wallet, it may have been destroyed or inaccessible, you still have some change or money that you can use to purchase necessary supplies in a very short-term situation. There's a good possibility that You may not be able to access your bank or your ATM in a very large disaster. So having some spare change and a couple of 20s or 5s inside the document bag are really helpful. The kit has a lot of other supplies, including things like changes of clothing, but we recognize that, the more we put into the kit, the bigger it gets. So for one individual, we really recommend you stay backpack sized. A backpack's a really easy way to just grab and go. Leave it by the door, leave one inside your car if you commute, especially back and forth to work, and possibly at your office if you have that space. If you can't use a backpack, or you don't have a backpack, or you have 3 or 4 kits, like some people I know, you may also want to use a duffel bag as a storage unit. You can use duffel bags that have these 2 straps, which essentially you can just toss over your back and use it like a backpack. But that's a great way. The problem with duffel bags is really if you're holding one with your hand, that's one less hand to use to try and evacuate. Okay, so I hope you got some useful information out of this segment, and I look forward to talking to you more about disaster preparedness with Happy Village. Thanks a lot.